Hey, all, sorry this is, it's been a while since I've gone and put a video up. I've been in Bulgaria, I've been casting, I've been doing other things, and quite honestly, the Infernal Mirror over and over again was not the most exciting thing to cast, so not a lot of videos to put up, but there's a patch coming on Tuesday. Got an interview coming out with Monk, hopefully around the same time. I'm talking to him on a Monday, so if you have questions, please put them in the comments down below. We'll try to talk about them. But Frost Giant, as of like 5 minutes ago, we're recording this ASAP, just put out a new blog, and they said, hey guys, let's take a look at this new Stormgate mechanic. And it's not a long blog, but I figured we should talk about it for just a second because they're removing the creep camps. Looks like, well, we're gonna have to see what happens. From an announcement trailer that we saw, it looks like the creep camp maps are still gonna be in the game that you can play on in customs, but Stormgates are here. And they start by saying, hey guys, you were right. We called the game Stormgate, but there's no Stormgate, and that's not exactly what we're looking for. So, hang on to tell us about the Stormgate thing. But of course, we talked about the interview, but if you want to go and you want to stay up to date with all the Stormgate development information, Stormgate casts, when it's balanced, when it's not, just Infernal's winning everything, when there's some balance there, make sure to go sub to the channel. And make sure you don't miss anything there, like the interview with Monk coming out likely when the patch releases on Tuesday. So long, creeps. Thanks for trying. You told us over and over, creep camps don't feel worth it. They're too risky. Why is that demon guy guarding a rock? We heard you, and we did the most balanced, thoughtful thing we could. We yeeted them. We got rid of them. Poof. Thanos snagged him from existence, snapped him from existence. We even emptied the recycle bin to make sure. In their place, something more interactive, more rewarding, more Stormgatey. Although it looks like the creep camps are being replaced in the 3 ladder. Okay, so that's actually really interesting. We have we have 9 maps right now. And this is actually going to mess with my running Stormgate Sundays for a little bit because not enough maps on the new Stormgate format, which is annoying. But this is more important here. It looks like there are going to be 3 ladder maps. 3 ladder maps for 0.5. There's going to be a reworked Broken Crown, reworked Boneyard, and some new map, Edge of Oblivion, which we don't know anything about. Other maps and customs games still will include the creep camp. So all those maps, Ruination, Jagged Maw, and Broken Crown, and all those have not been reworked yet, it looks like, to have Stormgates. It's only going to be these 3. You'll be able to play, it says, like the other ones with creep camps, but yeah, so it's going to be a little bit limited here. Moving into 0.5, I would expect to see that improve as we move forward. But hey, the first iteration on a totally new mechanic. So what is this new mechanic? Imagine a post-demonic invasion world where chaos and strategy reign supreme, but a Stormgate appears and it wants to be fought over. So these are going to be points of interest, a tug-of-war style battle between opponents. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't say exactly how you're going to claim it. I don't know whether you have to hold the area. I don't know whether you have to do damage to the Stormgate, like shut it down. I don't know if it's going to spawn those orange tinged creeps that we saw or orange tinged units that we saw. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but you're going to have to fight over it, which I think is good. I think the big issue with creep camps was there wasn't much to fight over. I know for a long time I've been arguing this, like just stick the creep camps into the center of the map. And that's going to give you more things to fight over because you're not going to have these trades. Less of them, put them in the center. And you're not going to be forced to have these. He's taking the health camp. I'm taking my health camp. We're not interacting is the idea there. But they're ripping creep camps out. And this is another way to do that where it's a POI. It forces you to fight over it. I don't know if it's going to be one or multiple Stormgates opening at the same time. We'll see. But some of the new graphics make it seem like it's going to be multiple, which is interesting. I almost hope not because that would be, again, providing incentive just to trade. Yes, if there's some screenshots, like maybe 3 Stormgates are open, then whoever gets 2 of them is going to have an advantage. So he does still force fighting on the center, maybe forces more multitasking. We'll see. I don't know. But why fight for it? Apparently, we're going to get stuff. So when you win a Stormgate and smack it open, you get to pick one of 3 randomized rewards. These are not your typical bonuses to damage or something. First one gives tier 1 rewards. Second is tier 2. Third and onwards are tier 3. And I'm curious what the spawning cycle is on these as well. Is it like every 3 minutes? Is it every 6 minutes? Are they just taking the creep cycle spawner from the from previously how it would work, where you would kill them and then would put them on a 6-minute timer? I think it was a 6-minute timer, until they would respawn, because the tier system is kind of is how the creep camps worked. But what kind of rewards? You can clone a friendly unit. At tier 1, that's not that bad. Like getting an extra Gaunt, getting an extra Brute is not a big deal. But especially as we start to get tier 3 units, which we don't have just yet, that could be fairly useful. So we have the Sulphur's Relic. It's a relic, right? It's not a unit, I don't think. How do you capture it? Like, is it something that you now have control over that you can move around? Is there room to recapture the relic? Because I think that's something that is, I hope they add that in if it's not in here right now, this ability to go, and even if you lose control of the Stormgate, like, it's like, okay, if it's a unit, because you can get some units. If it's a unit, you just go kill the unit. Fine. But these relics, if it's something that's just like under control, well, I would love to be able to go and like, wait a second, hold on, come flooding in, steal the relic from my opponent, even if I don't win the Stormgate, then maybe make something. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know exactly that's going to work, but right now you can clone a friendly unit. And I'm assuming this is a single-use thing. I'm assuming you can't just like on a cooldown clone units. Sky Hunters are rock golems with stuns and a taste for air units, which is very nice against, well, the nice thing about getting these units is, well, you're not going to get a ton of them, I don't think. I imagine they're going to be pretty powerful, kind of like probably the mercenaries from Zero Space, actually. But it allows you to round out your army theoretically. So say you have a bunch of issues with a bunch of air units. Well, you can get the Sky Hunters and kind of be okay, rather than having to tech out of that, depending on the timing. Again, I don't know how the timing is going to work here. I don't know how powerful these things are, but it does allow you to maybe skip some tech if you get the right units, which makes build orders a little bit more dynamic, which I think is interesting. Also, the ability to hop cliffs. Hopping banelings. Well, I guess they don't think they're banelings here, but scary tier 2 harassment reapers is... I'm happy they're adding more harassment into the game. I think that's good. Also, Swarm Mother. Did we not learn our lesson with Swarm Hosts? Granted, this is one Swarm Host. It's slow. I assume you can't, like, fast siege units are not the best thing. It spits out groups of Swarmlings. I will have to see how this works, how targetable it is. Of course, Heart of the Swarm Hosts were just not it, but that doesn't mean free units, especially in a situation like this where you cannot buy more of it, are very, potentially can be balanced and potentially can be kind of this locus of engagement. Stormcrawler Relic opens a dimensional storm that damages everything passing through its spiraling vortex. Sure, why not? So like a permanent storm that goes on the ground? That seems broken. I like it. Yes, please break things. And I think that I like that balancing idea in general, where you go kind of like take the Dota approach, where you make a bunch of stuff broken. And I think StarCraft has gone away from this in the last 7, 8, 9 years, and I think it's a problem. But you make everything broken, and then you just make things broken to counter. Yes, nerfs have to happen, but if you give everyone a bunch of fun toys, that's a lot more interesting than just nerfing everything down to not being as interesting. Every Stormgate spawns a high-risk, high-reward decision, and if you ignore them, well, that's strategy too. A lonely, slow, probably about to lose strategy, but it's totally up to you. And it will also be interesting here, because I imagine these Stormgates are not going to be the easiest thing to capture, which makes you think that, okay, does this open up other avenues on the map? Can you go and, say, take out an opponent's base while they're targeting a Stormgate? And will they get a good enough reward, particularly like on tier 3, because that's, I think, where you're going to have enough stuff to be able to take out a base. Will they have enough? Will the reward of the Stormgate be worth enough for them to go like worth making that economic trade? Or do you have to hold back? It should open some kind of potentially some multitasking opportunities, depending on how the balance in 0.5 and forward moves. Strategy evolves. Stormgates aren't just about shiny new toys. In testing, we saw players evolve their whole playstyle around Stormgates. They rerouted pushes, split armies, even coordinated Stormgate snipes while simultaneously defending a flank. So multitasking, which is what we want. They also occasionally died in spectacular fashion, which is good. I think that like the WoW moments are giving room for WoW moments, even if that is a mistake, is good. They're more than a new feature. They're shifting how we want 1v1 and eventually all modes to feel. They make 1v1 feel more dynamic and rewarding and just that much more unpredictable, but in a good way. Games become less about slowly choking your opponent out with a 4-base lead and more about clutch decisions and comeback potential. I think at the highest level, we will still see strong macro play, beating everything out. More bases beat less bases. But if you can go snipe a Stormgate or do something interesting, maybe that does give you some of that comeback potential. or gives you an opportunity to go again, harass your opponent when they're claiming the Stormgate. Because I look at these and they're strong, but they don't necessarily, we'll have to see what the numbers are. They're strong, but they don't necessarily look game breaking. So we'll see. We're looking for you to give us feedback on Stormgates as we're already prototyping new reward types, experimenting with timings, and testing how this plays out in team formats. Give it a go and let us know what you think on the official Discord. Still have questions about it? There's an AMA at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow on the Reddit thread, on the Reddit, the subreddit. So make sure you go ask them all the questions. And if you have questions for Monk in particular, well, post it on the Reddit thread, sure, but also drop in the comments because I'll be talking with him on Monday about Stormgates 0.5, retrospectives on creeps, whole bunch of stuff as the game continues to develop and move forward. So leave a comment, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on anything, and we'll be back on Twitch soon enough. See you there.